What's up, everybody? This is Gray here with the Sunday Shift Report. How is everybody doing out there this Sunday afternoon? I think it's about 2 o'clock here on January 16th, 2022. Got a few things to talk about in regards to what's in the media and what's in the news and stuff like that. And there's some things that I probably won't go over that, have been out since the last couple of days. The thing that happened in the synagogue in Texas. I think that's got enough media coverage. Most of you folks know about that. That was all over mainstream. Also, the underwater volcano with the tsunami and all that stuff like that. That was, I guess it wasn't horrific. Some places had some inundation of water. And also they're dealing with the ash and whatnot. So most of you guys are probably familiar with those two main topics that are out there on mainstream. I know when I was looking at YouTube, was it yesterday or the day before, it was plastered on almost every possible YouTube channel that I could figure out. And I don't mean preparedness channels. I mean just in general, news channels and outlets and other people that cover that kind of stuff. But that's where it was. That was the big news for the day. So, that being said, I'm sitting here thinking about some things and some of the things I want to go over today, and all in all. But first of all, I hope everyone is doing well out there. There's a lot of people that are not feeling well; they're under the weather. So, my prayers go out to you, and also to any folks out there that have gone through some troubling times, and in regards to either being sick, weather, and all the other things that have been transcending us in 2022 so far. So, that being said, I want to touch on a couple of things. Which I consider, SHTF type of scenarios that are kind of happening now. And some people might consider this maybe minor SHTF. Some people might call it major SHTF, depending on where you are and how you look at things. Everybody has a difference in opinions, and that's what I like about having the First Amendment, and the aspect that we can have opinions, and we can discuss these opinions in a peaceful manner. At least that's the way I like to look at it. Agree to disagree, and all the fun little terms that we like to toss around out here on YouTube. So I feel like I don't need to always repeat myself and say that the opinions on this video are my own opinions of these articles. Speaking of which, I do want to always say that if you can, give it a thumbs up. It does help. It truly does. I truly appreciate it. You, the viewers out there, that do hit that thumbs up, that watch this content. So I truly appreciate that. But also, everything that I'm going over here, except for the Florida story, will be down in the description, just because the Florida story was just breaking as I was recording this video. The article had came out, and I wanted to use that as well for what I'm talking about. But down in the description below will be links to all these articles so that you can read them and interpret them in the way that you choose, that you see fit, versus just my own opinion. That being said, let's just dive right into it. And I want to, we're talking about weather here. So let me bring up the Florida one first, being that basically is just happening, and as well as some of the other storms that I'm going to talk about, and why this is so important. I mean, utterly important. I don't know how people don't find preparedness one of the most important key aspects of life, being that no matter where you live in this world, or where you live in the United States itself, you need to be prepared for just about anything. And people say, well, you're a little bit paranoid. No, anything can happen. And it's that consistent, genre of, when you say the word prepper or preparedness, people get like this weird idea. But look at what's happening. Either like what happened today in Florida, the snowstorms, and everything that's transpiring right now. So let's, it just gets me a little heated when I just wish people would really think about preparedness and how important it is to not only themselves but their families, and the people that they care for. And that's why I love being in the preparedness community and teaching and educating folks and informing them about things about preparedness. Just because I feel one day what I say on this channel, or what I teach, or what I show, or whatever I do, something on this channel one day may save a life. And to me, that is the utmost important thing of preparedness, is life being saved. Someone's life, someone's child, someone's mom, dad, grandpa, and the list goes on. That's why I'm so passionate about preparedness and prepping and whatnot. But so let's jump into Florida. I'll throw this up here on the screen for you guys. And it says dozens of homes destroyed, hundreds displaced after a tornado hit southwest Florida. And Daniel, thank you for the email. Truly appreciate that. I'm not in that area, but I appreciate you looking out for me and asking if I was okay. I truly appreciate that, Daniel. Thank you so much for that. Anyways, this goes into Lee County, Florida. Early reports indicate dozens of homes were destroyed Sunday morning when severe weather tore through the southwest Florida. According to NBC2, at least 28 homes in Lee County were destroyed, with an additional 62 homes damaged and are unlivable. More than 7,000 were without power. As many as 200 people were displaced. 4 people were injured. Luckily, no one's lost their lives as of me saying it right now. Things can always change. Things are always fluid when something's happening. Roger Radigan told NBC2 the speed of the storm was outstanding. This came up quicker than anything I've ever seen, he said. It happened so fast, it was unbelievable. It came hard and it came fast. Radigan said his family jumped into a closet and tried to hide from the storm. Key takeaways from this: hard, fast. The storm came up out of nowhere. Now, here's again with the whole aspect of preparedness. Me, first thing I get up, I'm always looking at my weather patterns. I'm always kind of assuming what's going to be happening. You know, I take everything with a grain of salt. I look at radar, things in the morning, and this is what consumes some of my coffee time in the morning when I first get up, is looking at weather patterns, looking at storms, looking at predictions, and kind of getting an idea of what's transpiring. Then I go over and I see, what is the sun doing today? Are we looking at any solar flares or any solar activity from the sun? And various things like that, That is like my steps that I take in the morning sometimes when I'm trying to figure out how to plan out my day on occasion. You know what I mean? I'm always trying to, I guess, deluge, maybe that's the proper word for it, but deluge myself with abundance of information so that I'm prepared for that day or that week or whatever the information that I have in front of me. And that's why, a lot of you guys know I like Suspicious Observers and some of the other channels out there that kind of talk about space weather. And that being said, don't forget Dr. Bradley on the 25th of this month, January 25th. If you don't know who Dr. Bradley is, I'm pretty sure Harvey will let you guys know, as well as some of the other mods. And if you've seen that interview that I did with him last year, you'll see why it's important to tune in January 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live on the Grey Exchange. Sorry, shameless plug, right? Anyways, that's Florida. That's the Florida storm that's happening today. Me, I got some rain and wind that happened earlier this morning. Nothing too major. No issues with the garden. No water damage. No nothing. Everything is pretty much fine in my area. But the cold front's moving through, and we're gonna get some colder weather. Florida's in that whole rain, cold. Cold fronts move through rain, and that's just our weather patterns. I'm used to it by now, being in Florida. The majority of my life. But anyways. Let me move past the Florida storm and move on to what I'm concerned about now moving forward with the northern states. So let's bring up this other article. And where's it at? Here we go. And it's just bullet points here. But as you can see here, let me throw it up here so you guys can see it. It says, powerful winter storm bears down on 100 million Americans. That is a lot of folks. That is almost a third of our population. They're calling it the Saskatchewan Screamer, could dump up to 18 inches of snow as it blasts across the South and Mid-Atlantic. Some of you folks might be dealing with this now because this has been moving through as of last night, from my understanding, and pushing through all day Sunday, which is today. A powerful winter storm will strike the southeast by Sunday and then move north over the Mid-Atlantic. Some 100 million Americans are in the path of the snowstorm that could dump up to 18 inches in places. On Sunday, the heavy snow will develop over parts of the central and southwestern Appalachians and mid-Atlantic. Snow could reach as far south as Atlanta. Now, and I like how they reference this, where a 2-inch event in 2014 is still known as Snowmageddon. Hence why I threw that in my thing. Anyways, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam declared state of emergency and urged people to take the storm seriously. In North Carolina, some store shelves were stripped bare of essentials, including bread and milk. Those are the people that are usually unprepared, that are running to the store last minute and grabbing everything they possibly can off the shelf. And I don't understand, if the power goes out or something like that, the milk can spoil, bread only lasts long. But anyways, they should be getting canned goods, make sure they have ways to heat themselves, and the list goes on. You know how I like to preach. about things like that, things that people should have done. They should take a look at what happened in Texas and say, okay, well, this might happen to us. Let's prepare. Winter is here. Let's prep for winter. To me, that makes common sense, but who am I, right? Anyways, this, like I said, can affect almost a third of the population. I think America's at 328 million. That says roughly about 100 million folks. So you kind of get my reference in there into the numbers in the third of the population and whatnot. That being said, folks, if you're in these areas, please tell me that you're prepared. Please tell me that you are ready for the weather the storm, just in case it gets worse. These guys on the weather side of things, these forecasters, they make a prediction. They make an assumption. They use computers and algorithms and all that kind of stuff like that to get an assumption of what they expect to happen. Things can always be worse, specifically in localized areas. So just because you might get an inch of snow and no issues at all, but a county over, they may get dumped on. The power may go out. They may lose all ways to heat their house. They may not have enough food in their house. You kind of get where I'm going with this. So that's why I find it very important to just be aware of things like when a storm is approaching. Keep an eye on your weather. Keep an eye on your weather patterns. Be familiar with things. Hurricane season hits in Florida. It starts, and every year I look at what I have, and do I need to shore up anything else? Do I need any additional supplies before hurricane kicks off into its full swing of things? Because it's better to be prepared than get caught off guard and be unprepared. I don't know how important that is with folks. It just needs to be pounded in. It just needs to be all over the place. I was watching somewhere before, when you look at the prepper verse, or however you want to look at the preparedness verse of things, and you look at the footprint of what we're trying to do here on these channels, there are some large channels. You look at some of them, some of the big guys, they have maybe 600,000, maybe even 700,000 subscribers as of right now. I don't know. But channels that have to literally do about nothing, that doesn't teach anything, and I'm not harping on them channels, it just besieges me that some of these massive channels, 100 million, 200 million subscribers, don't really teach anything. They don't really educate. There's no, I don't understand the value in it other than entertainment. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just the way I look at the world. And kudos to them. They have that platform. They're using it to the fullest extent, and they're probably making millions of dollars, if not more. But it just upsets me that some of these guys that have been doing prepper videos and preparedness videos for 10, 12, 15 years, however long they've been doing them for, they should be up there with those numbers. People should be watching their content, understanding what preparedness is, and educating themselves and their families and everyone else around them so that everyone can feel safe, can have a sense of security when anything happens in their lives. But I guess that's me wishful thinking. Anyways, prayers to you guys that are in the path of the storm. Hope everything works out for you guys. I'm pretty sure that a lot of folks will email me if anything does transpire in regard to their local neighborhoods, their local areas, and what happens. But all in all, just be safe out there, folks, if this storm is heading towards you. All right, where am I at? Sorry, I sometimes I just get down. I get down these tangents when stuff like that. What else do we got going on? And a lot of you folks, I know that everybody says it's conspiratorial, right? About they mentioned people controlling weather, right? And I'm pretty sure. Here's how I look at it. It's happening. I'm going to show you an article that was just done in December of 2020, December 5th of 2020, I think it is, and it's linked down below. That they do control weather. I know people probably saying, "What? Did Grey just say they do control weather?" To a certain extent, they can control weather. I'm going to show you an article what the Chinese did. So if the Chinese can do it, you can bet your ass that America can do it as well. So let me throw up the article real quick since we're talking about weather. But here it is. I think this, like I said, this article is down below. You can click on it down in the description. But it says, China modified the weather to create clear skies for political celebration study. Researchers say Beijing used cloud seeding to create artificial rain and lower pollution in July in latest example of blue skying efforts. Chinese weather authorities successfully controlled the weather ahead of a major political celebration earlier this year, according to the Beijing University study. On the 1st of July, the Chinese Communist Party marked its centenary with major celebrations, including tens of thousands of people at a ceremony in Tiananmen Square. A research paper from the Tsinghua University has said an extensive cloud seeding operation in the hours prior ensured clear skies and low air pollution. So it's not like it doesn't exist. People like to, say that no, that's a conspiracy theory. No, it's real. It happens. The governments do it. China does it. I'm pretty sure America does it. I'm pretty sure a lot of countries do it. Now, some do it to, and here, if you look into the Chinese and their technology, they did this in certain parts of their country, which backfired on them. And I don't have all the research paper in front of me to get into the logistics of it, but it backfired on them, and it put poison into their soil and all the other kind of things that they were doing. As well, something in India as well that happened in India with this whole cloud seeding and things, technology and stuff that these folks are using. Whenever you play with Mother Nature is going to play back with you, guaranteed. I know I'm not a tree hugger, nothing like that, but I do believe in the power. I just look at our forefathers and things like that, and how people looked at, nature. If you look at the Native Americans, how they were one with nature. I love nature. I love being out in the woods. I love reading, understanding nature and stuff like that. But anyways, I just wanted to share that real quick for you folks out there that a lot of times ask me about stuff about weather control and organizations that do so. And that's right there. It goes to show that it is possible, and it happens. They are playing with weather. Now, am I saying that this is what's happening currently, let's say with the storms in Florida and the winter storm? No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is it can. They can play with stuff. People always wonder about hurricanes and tornadoes and why certain things happen in certain areas and so on and so forth. Now, that aspect can be conspiratorial in the when you think about it, like, oh, can you specifically say this disaster was created by a government that, used a weather controlling device or way of doing their things? If you kind of get where I'm saying with that, my apologies. I'm getting a little bit confused in what I'm trying to relate to you folks out there, but you guys get the gist of it. You know what I mean? I can't never say like, oh, well, this tornado or this Cat 5 hurricane was created by this government for this purpose. I can't say that because I don't know. And that's 100% honest. There's no way for me to BS you and say, yeah, I know this for sure. I got some sort of secret documents, or I have a secret person that's going to tell me that that's the reason that happened. But I can speculate and kind of, dig into things and kind of like, okay, well, that seemed odd. You know what I mean? Especially with volcanic eruptions and the list goes on, folks. Anyways, let me get past that. So we're talking about, SHTF situations, right? Let's jump into New York real quick. What's transpiring there? A lot of folks are going to be displaced. A lot of folks are going to be going through some serious situations here in New York City, as well as across other states. So let's bring this up. It says hundreds of thousands of NYC tenants face eviction as state's pandemic-era moratorium ended last night. So housing court has almost a little over 250,000, closer to 300,000 pending cases that can begin Tuesday. That's a lot of folks. That is a lot of people that may not have a place to live here soon. New York let its eviction and foreclosure moratorium expire on Saturday. Those in the city will have to now apply for eviction protection and rent relief, which they may get, but some may not. Tenants' rights advocates rallied on the steps of the New York Public Library demanding another extension to the eviction moratorium until the end of June. Sure, the people that own those properties, the landlords, and I'm pretty sure there's some bad ones, but there's some good ones out there. Some people that have taken their life savings, bought property and rented out, who are losing their behinds on this whole situation because they're not getting paid. Some people says, oh, well, the government gives you stipends. Please look into some of this stuff like that. There's always someone out there, oh, well, the government's taking care of them, the banks and this, and they're holding that. Nothing is free. Nothing is ever given to these people free. Nothing is ever given to anyone for free. Stipends and settlements, or I don't even know what I'm trying to say here, but money from the government is never free. There's always something attached to it, folks. So when people say, oh, well, don't worry about those folks, the government's going to take care of them. Sure, that's what the government's going to do. Yeah. We've seen that happen in the past, and we've seen that. It just gets me agitated, I tell you that. Anyways, some protesters were arrested on Saturday's event, but the vast majority remained peaceful. Housing courts will consider the case filed by tenants and legal aid society starting on Tuesday. Excuse me. So that being said, regardless of the situation, the free ride is over, folks. The people that were in these situations, I'm assuming that some of them had jobs, some of them had possibilities. So I still put that on the responsibility of being a responsible person. That, okay, you can't afford rent because of whatever happened and the whatever thing, but whatever money that you were making, you should have put something away. You should have put something away because everything comes full circle eventually. Again, nothing is for free. People abused these policies. People abused the whole stimuluses, and people abused a lot of things, and they're getting caught up. And some of them even go to jail. But that being said, there's some people that are gonna be in really bad situations, and some of these people have kids, and they're gonna be looking to food pantries. And as some of you folks know, some food pantries are very, very low. And I don't think they can handle a demand or a load of that consistency of that many people. I think we're going to see some nasty stuff happen. But we shall see. Maybe I'm just crazy. Anyways, what else do I got for you before I move on? Another possible SHTF situation is, imagine you hurt yourself and you're in a rural area or whatever, small hospital. You go to the hospital because you're going to the emergency room. Maybe your wife's having a baby, something like that. You get there, you haven't been paying attention to the news. You get there and come to find out they're closed. What would that, in my head, what would you do? What would happen? What would happen depending on the emergency and depending on how serious it is? What would you do? Well, check this out. This is in, let me see, bring up right here. Check it out. This is the article. Again, link down below. Hospitals close emergency departments, maternity wards over staffing shortages. Here we are with the whole staffing shortages. Why are we having staffing shortages? Is because these people are firing people because they won't oh boy, they will not conform to what is being for them to being told. Their rights are being taken away. They're being terminated because they don't want to do something, so they're being fired. Some people say, well, oh, they deserve to be fired. They should. It's their job. It's a public business. Public businesses have the right to do whatever they want. Sure, whatever. Put yourself in that situation and then see how you feel. Anyways, it says some hospitals in the United States have closed or plan to shutter parts of their facilities because of staffing shortages. 3 urgent care centers in Milwaukee, Wisconsin area have been closed temporarily because of the surge in the Charlie Victor cases and lack of staff. Advocate for Aurora Health, which runs the centers, confirmed this in an email to the Epoch Times. This allows those team members to be deployed to busier urgent cares in the area. All other non-urgent care services offered at these 3 facilities are currently open. The company said the facilities are in, let me see, and I'm going to probably say this wrong, Menominee Falls, Brookfield, and River Center Drive in Milwaukee. University hospitals like Lake Health confirmed that it shuttered an emergency department it runs in the UH Madison Health Center in Ohio, citing a review of current staffing levels, bed availability, and trends in the Charlie Victor hospitalizations. The company recently decided to extend the temporary close, so they're extending it already further than it is. What a mouthful, right? So anyways, emergency rooms and maternity wards, stuff like that. And in my head, I'm thinking, that's crazy. And where are they sending the people to? They're going to send them to the cities where they're the most busy at. Where it gets where there's a lot more population density. They're going to go there. So the people out in the rural areas, the smaller towns and stuff like that, are getting the shaft. They expect to drive 2 or 3 miles to their hospital and get services. But now, and if they're aware, now they got to drive into the city, which depending on how far they are from that city into that hospital is, and then how packed is that hospital, how fast are they going to be seen depending on the emergency, and then how infected per se is that hospital. Are they taking a risk going to that hospital? And I'm not saying if you have an emergency, definitely go to the hospital or whatever you need to do, but it's just, it blows my mind to see what I'm seeing in this country and all around, from the supply chain to food to emergency services to law enforcement. Everything we're being decimated at every possible aspect that we can see. Things are just happening, and it's just fast moving. And people still wake up every day like nothing is going on in this world. I thought that blew my mind. It's funny, and I know I'm totally off topic here. There was it Reuters? I wish I could find it and share it with you folks. No matter of fact, I heard it from it was from Bear, one of Bear's reports, and he read it. He read the entire article. I don't know. He probably has it linked on his page somewhere. That the amount of Americans that that are looking at, I guess they call it Civil War 2.0 or succession and all this other stuff like that. It was like 60% of Republicans or conservatives folks feel that that's what they want to do. And the ironic part, when I was listening to him, he also said I think it was like 40 or 43% of the liberals agree. So if you combine those numbers together, more than half of the U.S. population, whatever side they're on, uh, is probably thinking that a civil war is a brewing or something of that nature. And the blue states want to do their own thing, and red states want to do their own thing. I don't know. Like I said, who knows what's going to happen? We can't. We can assume, and we can always speculate and kind of like, okay, this is a possibility, and prepare for it for sure. But could it? And matter of fact, and I'm referencing multiple channels because I did watch content while I was at work. Magic Prepper talked about a situation over, I think, over in the whole Kazakhstan thing, and how within 7 days, everything went from a small protest to all hell broke loose, and you have foreign boots on the ground, and all kinds of crazy things happen. So SHTF, it's I think in Magic's word, he says a lot of people look at it as a slow burn, and sometimes it's not that way, folks. Sometimes it happens overnight, within days, weeks, or even faster. So just be prepared for anything, folks. Be prepared. And that's why I would say medical supplies and having all the different possible tourniquets and all those things that you possibly could prep, have them on hand because of situations like this here in this hospital situation. Man, sorry, I'm a little up today. I guess my coffee is running through these veins. Good old Cafe Bustelo is moving this morning, or moving this afternoon. All right. And there's another article that came up that I want to share with you folks, and this is linked down below as well. And I keep on saying that because I want people to be able to know that they can research this further. Did you guys know that basically, and I think I saw this on, was it Adapt 2030? One of those channels. And I kind of wanted to share that. And he said 5, but the article that I came across says 10. But let me throw this up real quick. As you can see here in this article, it says, these 10 companies control everything you buy. I was like, I never really looked at the big picture from that aspect. And it was honestly eye-opening. Basically, 10 companies control almost every single thing you buy on this planet. 10 companies. It says only 10 companies control almost every large food and beverage brand in the world. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm specifying food and beverage. My apologies. I misspoke. 10 companies control everything you buy from food and beverage. I do apologize. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, right? Anyways, to repeat myself, it says only 10 companies control almost every large food and beverage brand in the world. These companies: Nestle, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Unilever, Danone, General Mills, Kellogg's, Mars, and Associated British Foods, and Mondelez, each employ thousands and make billions of dollars in revenue every year. Wow, I thought to myself, these 10 companies. So my question, the reason I'm bringing this up is I'm wondering, they control the food that you consume, that you buy at the store. They control the flow. They control what they put out, what they ship, how they ship. They control it all. And I'm just thinking in my head like, man, if they wanted to and the government wanted to, nasty things can happen. And I'm not going to get into that because I'm being a little bit conspiratorial. But to know that only 10 companies control almost everything that we consume and drink is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. And that's where I'm going to leave it with that. I'm not going to get too dive in that. We can go into a whole live stream with that kind of thing, But yeah, that was crazy. And then there's a couple stories I want to show you. And kudos to Virginia. Let me throw up this video real quick. A lot of you guys have been watching Youngkin in Virginia. I don't know if you guys caught this, but he's hitting the ground running. You know what I mean? And he's following the footsteps of, like, say, Abbott and DeSantis and a lot of other governors out there. But let me play this real quick for you folks. And let me make sure I have the volume not too high on that. But here, let me check it out.
2, reaffirming the rights of parents in the upbringing, education, and care of their children. This executive order particularly addresses the rights of parents to, in fact, make a decision with regards to whether their children wear a mask in school.
Well, there you go. And to me, that's awesome. To me, that's awesome that he is hopefully going to be living up to what he promised his constituents in the state of Virginia, and also the Attorney General. I was listening to him on Patriot Radio, or XM Patriot Radio, however you want to call it, and they're on the same page. So I think that's awesome. We shall see in the political realm of things in Virginia and how it all plays out. So pretty cool. Pretty cool to hear that from Youngkin, and we'll see where it all plays out. And does anybody in chat live in Utah? Because this was a major newspaper in Utah, and it blew my mind because when I think Utah, I'm thinking Utah, isn't Utah like a more of a conservative red state? But one of the major papers, which are most likely some sort of left-wing crazies, I don't know, but it's one of the largest papers in Utah, put out this article here. Check it out. It says, Utah's largest newspaper calls for unvictored to endure draconian lockdowns enforced by the National Guard. This newspaper is calling for lockdowns for the unvictored by a military force, be it the National Guard. It says the editorial board of Utah's largest newspaper, the Salt Lake Tribune, which is controlled by the family of former Governor John Huntsman Jr., has called for the deployment of the National Guard to ensure that people without proof of victorization, my own word, I guess, would not be allowed, anywhere. The draconian measure was suggested in Saturday co-opted title, Utah Leaders Have Surrendered to the Charlie Victor Pandemic, suggesting that elected officials have failed to mandate the victor for all citizens, and that if Utah was a civilized place, Governor Spencer, who is a Republican, would treat the unvictored, and not to mention the natural immune, as lepers with severe lockdown mandates. And this was on Zero Edge. But I was like, when I read that, I was like, what in the hell? What is this? What are they thinking? What is this country coming to, folks? What is it coming to? In a place like Utah, and maybe I'm wrong because I've never lived in Utah, but I'm thinking Utah, rural. A lot of it's probably more sparse. There's a lot of probably people out there, that are, farmers and whatnot. I mean, this is my assumption of Utah. You know what I mean? If anybody in chat in Utah, please email me and let me know what's going on over there, because it's like, I read that and I'm like, what? I just couldn't comprehend it. But this goes to show, no matter what state you're in, pay attention, man. Pay attention, because there's some crazy folks out there. And the media just loves to eat this stuff up alive. Anyways. Oh, man. And before I, let me see, which one do I want to go with first? Which one's going to get me in more trouble, I should say, right? Let's start with this one, then I'll end with the last one, because the last one has to do with the CDC. Let's jump over to Vancouver in Canada real quick. Throw it up here. And, I've heard different iterations of this story, but I'm going to just run with it. You guys can, like I said, disseminate what you want from this, but I find it absolutely disgusting, personally. If this is what's actually happening in Vancouver, and if anybody's in Vancouver, please let me know, because this is ridiculous, folks. This is ridiculous. Anyways, it says Vancouver Ronald McDonald House is evicting unvictored child and family. They're evicting a child and his family. An organization supporting sick kids in Vancouver for nearly 40 years will no longer allow unvictored children. Vancouver's Ronald McDonald's House in BC, I think British Columbia, and the Yukon, a facility supporting sick kids receiving specialized care in Vancouver for nearly 40 years, will be requiring proof of victorization against the Charlie Victor for children ages 5 and older. I just read an op-ed that what they're doing to kids at this age, without having the science and the It's bad, folks. I'm really worried to see what happens in the next 5 to 10 years with these young children that are being victored up. It really concerns me, and I hope my assumptions are wrong, but I don't know. Anyways, the Ronald McDonald House describes itself as a place filled with hope and love, built on the belief that keeping family together is an essential part of healing children with serious illness. However, as of January 17th, unvictored children and families will no longer be included. Ferguson, the gentleman in this article, has a 4-year-old son with leukemia who will be evicted from the facility. And there's videos out there of him confronting these people. It says the House will allow a grace period until January 31st, which is roughly less than 2 weeks away, for children and families who have only received one dose. So my assumption is they want you to have multiple doses in order to stay. Anyways, it says, please visit our front desk to scan your BC Victor passport. Show me your papers, please. Confirming proof of Victor records. Provide the Victor card for those under 12 years of age, writes the RHMBC in a January 10th statement signed by Leslie Louis, Senior Director of Family Services. The mandate will be in effect not only for RHMBC's 73-bedroom house near British Columbia Children's, or BC, maybe it's just BC, I don't know, maybe I'm getting it wrong. But anyways, Children's Hospital and near BC's Children's Hospital and Vancouver, but also the family room which operates in the Surrey Memorial Hospital as well. I don't know what's going on in Canada, folks. I know there's a lot of you Canadians out there who I talk to and put out video and content. And for you and for us down here in the States, something to pay attention to, folks, because we've seen in New York and other places, Chicago and California and places like that, that it's slowly bleeding its way into this country. We saw it in Australia. Then we saw it hop over to other countries in India and Israel, Germany, France, the UK, Canada, and now it's working its way through the U.S. This is why I pay attention to what's happening overseas. I listen to these folks. I watch what's transpiring because everything, unfortunately, makes its way over to as they call it, to the West. All right. Last but not least on this Sunday Shift Report, and if you haven't done so already, please smash that thumbs up button. Truly appreciate that. If you got any value out of this or any of these articles that you weren't unaware of, thank you. If you can just please smash that button, it would be truly appreciated. It definitely helps the algorithm. Share it out, man. Share it out to your friends. Share it out on social media. Share it on email. Share it wherever. Share it wherever you can. Whatever platform. If you're on Getter, Gab, Rumble, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, share this out, folks. Share this out. We need to get these messages out. We need to get this information out so people can become better prepared. All right, here we go. And we've been saying this since day one. And what I mean we is a lot of other folks, myself included. I've gotten slammed by someone in my comment section 6 months ago for calling them face diapers, and I'm unsubscribing because you're just going too hard on the face coverings and blah blah blah. And I'm like, it's your choice. Unsubscribe. That's your choice. You don't like what I have to say. You don't like my content. Sorry. There's nothing I can do about that, man. I can't please everyone. And I apologized, and I said, well, this is how I feel, and I'm entitled to that as an American. Anyways, let's pull this up. All right, so this was published on January 14th, 2022. It says the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, and Prevention on Friday clarified its stance on various kinds of masks, acknowledging that the cloth masks frequently worn by Americans do not offer as much protection as surgical masks or respirators. And I can dig deeper into this because it's still hodgepodge BS. But anyways, they're telling... I know you folks go out there and see people wearing stuff on their face all the time. The things that they get at the dollar store, the things that they order online, the things that they bedazzle with jewels, the things that they find at a gas station for $3 or something that matches their outfit. All this cloth stuff that they have on their face, the CDC is telling you now, it's pretty much not working because of the droplets. When you look at a microorganism or a virus in general, and you look at the droplets, which I've talked to so many nurses and doctors that I'm friends with, yes, literally friends with some folks and asking them, their opinions on stuff before I come on YouTube and sound like an idiot. When you look at how many microns that it is for transmissible through that mask, they say, yeah, it's think about this. Some of you folks that went out and got tested, when you pulled up to these testing facilities, like the one here a year ago that was set up at the college, they were in hazmat suits. Why weren't they wearing bedazzled cloth masks while they were administering these tests? And the reason I say bedazzled is because I've seen the most stupidest crap in the world, with people with stuff on people's face because they find it to be a fashion statement. And there's even an article out that says that some stupid thing that said something about people are more attractive with these things on their face. And I'm like, geez, what's next, man? What is next? Anyways, back onto the article. It says, while the disparity is widely known to the general public, the update marks the first time the CDC has explicitly addressed the differences. The agency's website also no longer refers to a shortage of respirators. The change comes as infections with the highly contagious Big O variant continues to soar. Some experts have said that cloth masks are inadequate to protect from the variant and have urged the CDC to recommend respirators for ordinary citizens. And what they mean by respirators, because when you hear the word respirators, you're thinking, like a gas mask or respirators, the things that people wear with the filters on them that paint cars and stuff like that. And I always tell people, if you're going to wear anything like that, look at the filter. Look what the filter filters out, because not all filters are created equally. But I'll digress there. Anyways, the agency did not go that far. Its updated language now says that respirator may be considered in certain situations and by certain people when greater protection is needed or desired. So the CDC has upgraded their information. Basically, they're trying to not sound like idiots, at least from my perspective, and say, by the way, those little things that you get at the store are useless. And everything that you've been doing for the last year and wondering, how did I get sick? I social distance. I wear a face covering. I've been doing everything I'm told. I've been triple dosed up. What's going on? I've been doing what they said. I've been following the narrative. I'm a sheep, but I'm still getting sick. Well, there you go. Because they're always changing it. And I always refer back to this. Oh man, I don't even want to get into this whole Fauci thing. But anyways, go back to what they said when everything first started happening, and people seem to have like memories like what is it? I forgot, something that has a memory, a very short span of memory, short-term memory or whatever. But when he said, no, you don't need those. You don't need those. And then all of a sudden, then you need those. And then you need 2 of those. Then you need 3 of those. And then now they're saying, oh, yeah, well, it's really not effective and it's not working. But you could use a respirator because, the corn pop went on the news the other day and said everybody should be doing this and be doing that. And we'll see that 30% of the population, because that's who thinks he's doing a great job, will follow those guidelines and continue to live the life they live. Anyways, folks, I've gone long. I do apologize. This thing is about 45 minutes long. Man, I'm sorry. I just went rambling on this time on this premiere. But thank you all for being here. Truly appreciate all you guys' support. Again, if you can hit that thumbs up on the way out, truly appreciate that. I hope everyone is safe out there, people in the path of some of these storms and all that stuff like that. Be vigilant. Stay prepared, folks. But this is GreyMan. I'm out. See you guys in a rebound. God bless.